couldn't do it without you. So thank you.
Well, don't forget Kevin and Dee Dee, Christopher and Allison.
I'm still going through the list.
And you.
I'm still going through the list. So, and thank you to Mr. Kevin, who gets on early and sets up our Zoom.
Don't forget Kevin, Dee Dee, Christopher, and Allison.
I'm still going through the list.
And you.
I'm still going through the list. So, and thank you to Mr. Kevin, who gets on early.
I think we got a little feedback here, huh? Don't forget Kevin, Dee Dee, Christopher, and Allison.
I'm still going. So maybe if we, oh, that sounds better.
We good?
Yep.
Okay.
I think we're good.
And so thank you to Dee Dee, who is our beautiful prayer practitioner. We so appreciate you. And Mr. Christopher, who is our president and leader getting us through. And Miss Nikki, who has joined the board, and we're just so happy to have you. As with Miss Allison, thank you guys for joining the board. I know that we are just going to be expounding everything that we bring to ourselves and of course to our community with your help. So thank you. And then to Miss Melissa, who is our secretary and treasurer, who is our treasurer and has done such an amazing job for so many years. So couldn't do it with everybody, without everybody behind the scenes. So thank you. And if I missed anybody, I'm so sorry. Okay, so I'm going to send it back over to Anthony, I believe, and he will introduce our speaker.
Yes, thank you all who are watching live in the room and those of you who are watching on replay. We invite all of the most inspirational speakers here to BHS to deliver personal and professional development topics. And our speaker today is coming to us from Vienna, Austria. Name's Anna-Marie Lombard Punchart, and she was recently on the TEDx stage in Vienna to talk about her transformation from a multiple six-figure income earner in New York City and in Denver as a meeting planner into a yoga and meditation teacher and a healer and a host and producer of her own yogic radio show, Venus Frequency. She will tell us about why and how it has become her business for you to put and feel your feet on the ground. Here, a few reasons as giveaways already, because it's beautiful human and immediately brings you into here and now. Anna-Marie will talk about the benefits of meditation and how to make it a daily habit, give you yoga poses and pranayama breathing exercises you can do at your office or integrate easily into your daily routines. As a former international meetings, conventions, and events executive, she will also address the topic of how to integrate yoga, meditation, and mindfulness into corporate structures such as company trainings, meetings, conventions, and events, and why. Her outline today is to start off with a guided mountain meditation, to do some mindful movement and office yoga and pranayama breathing. So help me welcome our guest speaker today, Anna-Marie Lombard.
Is the floor mine,
Yes.
so to say?
Yes.
And I have about 45 minutes, correct?
Correct.
We're good with that, yes. Thank you for having me, and good morning to Denver. It's in the afternoon here in Vienna, Austria already. And I'm grateful to be able to be here, share my story, and also share some of the insights on how to really bring that yoga, meditation, mindfulness practice into also our daily corporate agendas. It's becoming more and more of a topic, and the way that the world works right now, it seems there's a lot of information and there's a lot of availability to know what the effects might be, or to know what the effects would be to meditate, to move mindfully, but I will also make sure that we do put it into practice. And that is a very yogic approach, so to say, because in yoga, there's a saying that philosophy without practice is pure speculation. And in yoga, we really step onto that mat of your yoga mat, but also onto your mat of life. And we use these techniques to really transform and to give us these, or to use these tools of transformation and put them into action to then really reap the benefits and really be able to stand with both feet in life and on the ground and really feel. And that's also one of my missions in general of like the work that I do, is to remind everyone who I work with to come back into feeling. And that does require you to feel the feet on the ground and to not just intellectually know that and be considering that, yeah, I know, such an easy, such a simple way of improving, and that's what everybody talks about, but it is about you feeling your feet on the ground right now. So as I talk to you about this, feel your feet on the ground and notice how much more holistically you experience yourself in this very moment. And this is the simplest way of putting things into action already. And this is what a yogic path asks from you as well. It is a way of really making sure that you integrate discipline, you integrate a practice that you do show up for yourself and for that information and for that outcome of transformation. About myself, some of you might have received and seen my TEDx talk already. I refer you to that to get the whole story. I went a little bit over time. It's 20 and a half minutes. I think TEDx talks should be 19 minutes. But to put it in a nutshell and also explain the topic that says taking on responsibility and adventures within. And I do start the TEDx talk right away on saying like, let me tell you a story why it has become my business for you to feel and put your feet on the ground. And the nutshell version of that is that, and to tie it into that too, why an Austrian is speaking in Denver right now, is I am a dual citizen and I do call myself also a global citizen. I lived half my life in the United States and can't claim to be one or the other fully anymore. My heart belongs to both, and both of the places in the on the earth I have roots in. So that's what kind of like spans that. And when I was 19, I actually moved from Austria to New York to start my career in hotel and tourism management, and only meant to stay for 1.5 years, typical H1 visa. But I climbed up the corporate ladder and changed out of the hotel business into the international meetings, incentives, conventions world, where I was selling and marketing destinations to bring big corporate business into international events destinations. And make a long story short, when I wasn't flying in airplanes from roadshow to site inspection to sales call, I was jumping out of airplanes. And I guess it was another way of adrenaline therapy for me. And I love to fly, and it's an amazing sport. Just that on my 601st skydive, I literally broke myself in half. And up until that point, I was numbers driven. I was making my six-figure income as a very young corporate business girl. And I was kind of invincible too. And I definitely was more in my head than I was ever understanding the power of my body and also the interconnection. And in that accident, I broke my back. I have a fused spine now, L1, L2, T11, T12, to be a little mechanical on that, or technical on that. And I also broke my leg, where I was told that it wouldn't be able to heal properly because the talus bone that sits at the bottom of your foot and connects everything doesn't have, it's one of the bones that doesn't have the intelligence or the DNA to know how to get its blood supply once it was broken or dislocated or injured as such. So when I woke up out of that first surgery, I was told that this bone needed most likely more surgeries, will need to get fused, and the bone structure will die. 85% out of the cases, it would die. That's all I heard in that moment, because I was figures and I was in that world of not even knowing that maybe I could also contribute or I could take over responsibility as well. That's where the responsibility comes in. That's where the diving within comes in. Thank God I had a friend, healer on my side that same day, who focused on the 15%, who told me that I could take on responsibility, that with breath work, with connection, with really being wholesome in this body and feeling all the way to the bottom of my feet and taking responsibility to that into that whole entire organism, that I could maybe bring blood there. And in my TEDx talk, I also talk about that formula: visualize, feel, act, that she gave me a formula of visualizing that healthy blood that bone needed, oxygen rich, dark red, would feel the healing power, and also visualize myself walking, biking, hiking, swimming, snowboarding again, and act in that I would bring that blood there, that I would bring that intention of healing there, squish that blood around in mind, take it up into the blood, into the bone, and squish all the bacteria and negative energies out of it. In that, we were able to heal that bone. Would it have healed the other way as well? Would it have not? We don't know, but I took on responsibility. I was doing yoga and meditation before already, but I was going to yoga, as I always say, because the Sex and the City girls were going to yoga, and it was cool to run around with your yoga mat. Once I came out of that transformation already, in realizing that I am more than just my algorithm-driven ego mind, and that I can live in this body that has been given as a pretty beautiful present to me, as a vehicle through this life, that there is great power and great intelligence and great wisdom that we can draw from. Yoga all of a sudden became a new new discipline in my life and new philosophy in my life that I really started to practice. It took quite some time to move from, I went back into the business world because I didn't know any different, and I had built a lifestyle that already required a certain six-figure income to move me forward or to come back into. But 17 years later now, I'm a full-fledged yoga and meditation instructor. I have my radio show. I talk about these beautiful responsibilities that we can take on in our own healing, and therefore also realize healing for the greater collective. And I've only taken on the transition into this full-time work now over the past 5 years since I moved back to Austria, and have still the ties into the international corporate meetings and incentive conventions world. And this is kind of the tie in now to bring it into the business world, that these modalities and feeling yourself, and also coming into a clearer experience of your daily life and being able to use breath, movement, intention, mindfulness to really also ease your stress, take you back out of anxiety, give you short little nuggets to come back, feel yourself, breathe, move, and get a clear mind. Get a clear mind so that you can not necessarily multitask, but put new focus on something, and also move in your teams, in your communities as a let's say also more awakened person, and not so influenced, which we still are, by the externals, which we need to be part of, but also work a little bit against the stream, as I think AT&T has done a study not too long ago that our focus is about 3 seconds right now. So all these techniques will help bring us back out of that dullness into aliveness, into feeling, and making your daily experience very human-centric again. And with that, I'm switching over to a little bit of that in intent of my talk and topic of how to integrate yoga, meditation, mindfulness into Congress meeting, seminar, corporate agendas. And as we are emerging back out of that big pause that we just all experienced worldwide, if you're in Vienna or in Denver, there is a new dialogue that we have the opportunity to also start in meetings, in corporate agendas, that shifts a little bit from the measuring of the ROI to also creating lasting human-centric experiences, because it's the right time to put human back and human spirit back into corporate, online, as well as in-person gatherings and life in general. Not too long ago, the fascination has been all about the cyberspace, while I see now a strong trend that we also all can help fuel a little bit to cultivate and nourish and explore the inner space, the understanding of how the brain absorbs, how it retains and communicates with the body, and with that also with the world and with community. And adding mindfulness to a character of a corporate meeting is on the rise, and into the character of corporate environment in general is on the rise. But we have to be careful that if we just sprinkle yoga here and meditation there without rhyme or reason, you might easily fail to generate the support within your organization, or make any impact. So I have kind of, because I can understand both worlds quite well, have made it a little bit of my focus point as well, to create modules and create certain topics that fit well. And the expertise that I bring to the table, I would like to share with some tips and practices with you today as well. And so we look into the two big words in this world, and that's mindfulness and wellness. And wellness, I describe as the state or condition of being in a good physical as well as mental health. So that's why we call it well-being in general. And I think it fits better into the corporate world. And mindfulness is the process or skill of paying attention to the present moment experience with an attitude of curiosity and acceptance. At its core, mindfulness is engaged awareness. And many researchers have been doing great studies showing that well-being and mindfulness have an impact on many aspects of the human experience. When you understand the underlying physiology of well-being and mindfulness, you begin to see that any discussion about human change, business relations, learning, education, even politics and social issues end up being about well-being and mindfulness. That's because well-being and mindfulness in some ways are simply the opposite of mindlessness and disease. And mindlessness and disease are the cause of a tremendous amount of human challenges and discomfort and misunderstanding. And as a former meetings, incentive conventions, events executive turned yogi and meditation instructor, I have been tackling that topic on how to meaningfully integrate yoga, meditation, mindfulness into meeting agendas, and to support and to nourish that human-centric experience that we have to bring it back into this emerging back into this new world in general, and that we bring it into the corporate world as well. And it's yet again not just something that we know about and intellectually understand, but that we truly also implement into our daily activities and daily business agendas, because also the meetings represents the core strength of in-person get-together, same as a yoga practice. It's an in-person experience, it's a human experience, human-centric experience, and it socially connects. And that is, even if it's an online meeting, or especially like if it's an in-person meeting or a destination meeting where we travel to, it's about the human experience. It's about getting together. It's about sharing that human spirit. And With that in mind, I now have created a few human-centric health breaks that we can integrate into meetings, campfire talks, keynote addresses, panel discussions, interactive sessions, and also pre-recorded meditations. And there are themes that, for example, right now I've broken them down to power down, the power up, guided 10-minute meditation breaks, cognitive recharge, mindful movement sessions. We'll do a little bit of that. Connect mind, body, chair yoga, where you don't even have to get out of your office chair, being dressed in the way that you are showing up to work. Clarity of mind, walking meditation, breakout modules, restore natural rhythm through pranayama, what we call the yogic breath, stay aware and centered interactive talks, peaceful yet energizing yoga nidra, that is the art of conscious relaxation, a true ancient yoga practice as well. And then also, for example, like my visualize, feel, act keynote address that follows my TEDx talk. The way to integrate these elements of yoga, what I also call mindful movement, the meditation, the pranayama, is definitely to consult an expert like me who understands how to bridge that gap between the meeting topics and the well-being and mindfulness, to make sure that they're tailor-made, that they're professional, non-esoteric for corporate groups, fun, easy to understand, approachable, and be woven through the entire philosophy of the meeting. The experience and presentation of these topics and activities has to be carefully curated to cater to the very wide range as well of characters and attendees, considering that they're first timers and to any of the topics. And there might be already very advanced yogis, meditators, pranayama or Wim Hof breathers, and to still guarantee a value, effect, and hopefully that they are also being integrated into personal as well as business lives. And there should be outcomes and takeaways with that we have also yet again in mind the human-centric models, to not just let employees, clients, business associates be all external and algorithm driven and spreadsheet world living, but to yet again feel feet on the ground, feel holistic, be in that human body again, feel in that human body and act accordingly. And so that they all have long lasting and positive outcomes. And adding mindfulness and all that human-centricness into your meetings or into the corporate world, it doesn't have to be overwhelming, the same way as your life does not have to be so stressful. So with that in mind, we will go into a meditation. It's going to take about 10-11 minutes, and I ask you to put your feet on the ground, to sit straight up and not to be leaning against your feet in the back, so that you're feeling, and don't cross your legs over, have them side by side, and really so that you're feeling your feet on the ground. Let me see, there is one question. We'll check that later, I think.
You can look at that while I know you're going to replay the meditation. So
beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
So yes. And one of the things that I really also encourage you is, even if you think that this is now not what you were expecting and this is not what you have time for, this is what you have time for. Don't put it off. This is what we wanna encourage in general, to bring it into the life, into your workplace. 10 minutes. It might also all of a sudden come off as never ending, having to sit still, going through these visualizations, having to try to not run the other movies in your mind, and not having much training maybe in it, or you do. Either way, take the adventure. It's a big adventure. Be open-minded to it. Come into the feeling, feel your feet on the ground at all times. Go through the process, and especially if it feels like it's taking forever, do know that all of a sudden you're being given a tool that slows down time. And what do? We want it to be over again, and we want to run away and be somewhere else again already. So observe that too. 10 minutes can be so fast, and 10 minutes can be so slow. Be with the process that it's guiding you through, and allow that adventure of becoming a mountain. It's the Mountain Meditation by Jon Kabat-Zinn. It's a classic Buddhist meditation that we have been bringing into corporate leadership programs quite successfully, and you'll notice why. So close your eyes. There's a little bit of music that underlines it, and the music is underlined with binaural tones, so it helps also stimulate your brain. If you have headphones, put them in. We have about a minute before my voice starts. I will tell you already again to put your feet on the ground. Close your eyes. Allow the adventure. Relaxed in your body. Breath natural, and your hands can face down on your palms facing down on your thighs. Take the sound as you need it. Listen. I'll be going through the process
This
with you.
meditation is normally done in a sitting position, either on the floor or a chair, and begins by sensing into the support you have from the chair or the cushion, paying attention to the actual sensations of contact, finding a position of stability and poise, upper body balanced over your hips and shoulders in a comfortable but alert posture. Hands on your lap or your knees, arms hanging by their own weight like heavy curtains, stable and relaxed. Actually sensing into your body, feeling your feet, legs, hips, lower and upper body, arms, shoulders, neck, and head. And when you are ready, allowing your eyes to close, bringing awareness to breath, the actual physical sensation, feeling each breath as it comes in and goes out, letting the breath be just as it is, without trying to change or regulate it in any way, allowing it to flow easily and naturally with its own rhythm and pace, knowing you are breathing perfectly well right now, nothing for you to do, allowing the body to be still and sitting with a sense of dignity, a sense of resolve, a sense of being complete whole in this very moment, with your posture reflecting this sense of wholeness. And as you sit here, letting an image form in your mind's eye of the most magnificent and beautiful mountain you know or have seen or can imagine, letting it gradually come into greater focus. And even if it doesn't come as a visual image, allowing the sense of this mountain and feeling its overall shape, its lofty peak or peaks high in the sky, the large base rooted in the bedrock of the Earth's crust, its steep or gently sloping sides, noticing how massive it is, how solid, how unmoving, how beautiful, whether from afar or up close. Perhaps your mountain has snow blanketing its top and trees reaching down to the base, or rugged granite sides. There may be streams and waterfalls cascading down the slopes. There may be one peak or a series of peaks, or with meadows and high lakes. Observing it, noting its qualities, and when you feel ready, seeing if you can bring the mountain into your own body, sitting here, so that your body and the mountain in your mind's eye become one, so that as you sit here, you share in the massiveness and the stillness and majesty of the mountain. You become the mountain, grounded in a sitting posture. Your head becomes the lofty peak, supported by the rest of the body and affording a panoramic view. Your shoulders and arms, the sides of the mountain. Your buttocks and legs, the solid base. Rooted to your cushion or your chair, experiencing in your body a sense of uplift from the deep within your pelvis and spine. With each breath, as you continue sitting, becoming a little more a breathing mountain, alive and vital, yet unwavering in your inner stillness, completely what you are beyond words and thought, a centered, grounded, unmoving presence. As you sit here, becoming aware of the fact that as the sun travels across the sky, the light and shadows and colors are changing virtually moment by moment in the mountain's stillness. And the surface teems with life and activity. Streams, melting snow, waterfalls, plants, and wildlife. As the mountain sits, seeing and feeling how night falls, day and day follows night. The bright warm sun followed by the cool night, studded with stars and the gradual dawning of a new day. Through it all, the mountain just sits, experiencing change in each moment, constantly changing yet always just being itself. It remains still as the seasons flow into one another, and as the weather changes moment by moment and day by day, calmness abiding all change. In summer, there's no snow on the mountain except perhaps for the very peaks or in cracks shielded from direct sunlight. In the fall, the In any season, it may find itself at times shrouded in clouds or fog or pelted by freezing rain. People may come to see the mountain and comment on how beautiful it is or how it's not a good day to see the mountain, that it's too cloudy or rainy or foggy or dark. None of this matters to the mountain, which remains at all times its essential self. Clouds come and clouds may go. Tourists may like it or not. The mountain's magnificence and beauty are not changed one bit by whether people see it or not, seen or unseen, in sun or clouds, broiling or frigid, day or night. It just sits, being itself. At times visited by violent storms, buffeted by snow and rain and winds of unthinkable magnitude. Through it all, the mountain sits. Spring comes, trees leave out, flowers bloom in the high meadows and slopes, birds sing in the trees once again, streams overflow with the waters of melting snow. Through it all, the mountain continues to sit, unmoved by the weather, by what happens on its surface, by the world of appearances, remaining its essential self through the seasons, the changing weather, the activity ebbing and flowing on its surface. In the same way, as we sit in meditation, we can learn to experience the mountain. We can embody the same central, unwavering stillness and groundedness in the fact of everything that changes in our lives over seconds, over hours, over years, in our lives and in our meditation practice. We experience constantly the changing nature of mind and body and of the outer world. We have our own periods of light and darkness, activity and inactivity, our moments of color and our moments of drabness. It's true that we experience storms of varying intensity and violence in the outer world and in our own minds and bodies, buffeted by high winds, by cold and rain. We endure periods of darkness and pain as well as the moments of joy and uplift. Even our appearance changes constantly, experiencing a weather of its own. By becoming the mountain in our meditation practice, we can link up with its strength and stability and adopt them for our own. We can use its energies and support our energy to encounter each moment with mindfulness and equanimity and clarity. It may help us to see that our thoughts and feelings, our preoccupations, our emotional storms and crises, even the things that happen to us, are very much like the weather on the mountain. We tend to take it all personally, but its strongest characteristic is impersonal. The weather of our own lives is not be ignored or denied. It is to be encountered, honored, felt, known for what it is, and held in awareness. And in holding it in this way, we can come to know a deeper silence and stillness and wisdom. Mountains have this to teach us, and much more, if we can let it in. be helpful to use it from time to time in your meditation practice to remind you of what it means to sit mindfully with resolve and with wakefulness in true stillness. So in the time that remains, continue to sustain the mountain meditation on your own, in silence, moment by moment, until the music ends.
Deeper inhales and exhales. Bring you back onto the surface. Open your eyes. Feel your feet on the ground. The mountain meditation. Notice your feet on the ground. Continue with that. And we'll have just a few more minutes to do a few more practices. And just notice also what these 10 minutes have given you in the meantime, and that little break like that can do wonders in terms of like realizing yourself fully connected again, fully cleansed physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, and allowing your world to slow down for a little bit, to give a break. And that's what meditation in general is putting that gap between the worlds, and in that rest, in that pausing, out of that possibility can arise again. And you allow yourself, your environment, your business partners, also a new way of networking, a new way of connecting, a new way of moving forward into a world that we can envision now, because everything is new and everything is new to be interpreted. Also, what we just came from in terms of world was what we envisioned. So this puts that gap between what we're tied up in and what we're moving into, and put that gap of possibility. What we'll do now is a breathing exercise. We call in the yoga world the nadis is our energy channels within. And they're similar in the Ayurvedic medicine structure and the yogic structure to traditional Chinese medicine, where they call them meridians. And the energy flow, as we experience and as we can stimulate it, will also help you be with flow in life. I am going to be mirror opposite from you. So you are also going to take your right hand and put your index finger and your middle finger right on your third eye. Pineal gland is up there, hormone balancing and hormone stimulating glands right behind it, but they also can be known the spot as soul connection, if you want to look into that. Your thumb is going to close your right nostril, and your pinky is going to close your left nostril. Close your eyes, stay upright seated with your shoulders broad and your heart moving forward. Your navel pulls in gently towards your spine. And you inhale through both nostrils, and you exhale through both nostrils. Close your right nostril and inhale through left. Close your left nostril, keep both closed, hold for 2, 1. Open your right nostril, exhale through right. Inhale through right, keep right open. Close right, keep both closed, hold for 2, 1. Exhale through left. Inhale through left. Close both, hold, 2, 1. Exhale through right. Inhale through right. Close both, hold, 2, 1. Exhale through left. Inhale through left. Close both, hold, 2, 1. Exhale through right. Open both, inhale through both. And exhale through your mouth. Bring your right hand palm to face up. Bring both hands, palms to face up on the back of your thighs. You're receiving posture with your hands. So you're receiving yourself, you're receiving the moment, you're receiving life, you're receiving whatever task is coming up, and you observe what just happened. Nadi Shodhana, cleansing the energy channels, coming into flow, but it also cleanses and harmonizes and balances left and right side brain. It makes you cognitively connect. It makes you observe. It makes you fulfill a task. And breath is the biggest cleansing agent that we have. Open your eyes again. Yeah. Breathing exercises, we call them pranayama. Prana means life, and pranayama is the life force that we can regulate. Now we'll get up. We'll do 2 more mindful movement exercises that you can easily do on your desk, and that easily can be done in whatever you're wearing. And you come to standing with your feet. And I have yoga mats there. It's just part of my living room at all times. Feet about mat width distance apart. And you bring your hands on your hips. You roll your shoulders away and truly let your heart shine forward. And here we go through also maneuvering your whole entire body. Hips move over towards the right, while the chest and the upper body moves towards the left. Then let your hips reach back and you look forward. And then you come to move your hips towards the left and the body, upper body to the right, and then move forward and go through beautiful circles. We're stimulating our digestive system. We're trimming the waist, beautiful stuff. We're rotating into the hip structure that usually just moves a lot of times linearly. And that's what nourishes. That's what also lets go of really energy deposits and dull and stale energy, and then move in the other direction. Yes. And our lymphatic system needs movement to be able to detox. The heart gets to open up, and we shine through what we call the solar plexus. Is kind of like your power center, because the diaphragm is here and has all nerve and musculature structure, and also fascia system, which is a whole regulatory system for your body. Come back to center. Beautiful. Feel just like how it enlivens you. Feet are on the ground, and then we're going to use, you certainly have a desk. I'm going to put my Philip Stark bar chair from my hotel days still here. Hands on the bar stool, and then walk yourself back. Let your hands be on your desk, and let your shoulders hang through. Your feet are about hip width distance, your knees bend, and let your head like hang through your shoulders. Beautiful for that shoulder girdle that we tense up quite a lot. Beautiful for the lymphatic system below or underneath your armpits that needs stretch stimulation to really do its detoxing work. Beautiful for your structure, especially nowadays, the iPhones, the leaning forward, the curling in, the no longer rising and stabilizing from within, giving yourself length, giving yourself beautiful opening in the shoulders, letting the head be nice and loose, and inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Let go of what does not serve you. Let go of what is stuck. Inhale, nourishing the body, energizing the body. Exhale, letting go of the stale energy. We also need to eliminate energy waste. Inhale one more time and exhale. And then slowly walk yourself back in. Feel your hands on your table, on your desk as you move yourself, walk yourself back in. Come back onto your desk. I would love to do many, many more fun exercises with you, but my 45 minutes are over. Went like when you're having fun. Time flies. Let me know if you have questions. I know there was one question from Kevin there already. I don't know why I can't find it now. Here it is. Check the box. What has been your experience? It's interesting. I've been the question is, yeah, how to. That is fabulous. Thank you. The how to engage and also get the interest, I guess, Kevin, your question is, right? I have been speaking and facilitating at one of the biggest conferences for the international corporate events, congress and convention industry. The convention is called ICA and is an international big 2,500 people convention. And we have been implementing mindfulness lounges in the throughout the 4.5 day convention. And over the past 3 years, it has really grown in attendance. We did one meditation once, a 3-minute meditation for during the keynote as well for about 1,600 participants, where afterwards we were congratulated that wow, that we could have brought it to such a still conservative attendee group, but it broke the ice. It broke the ice. And what is interesting to see too, then all of a sudden people were coming to the lounges, doing their little 10-minute breathing breaks in between, knowing that there is new networking opportunities. And the lounge always had and needed to be sponsored and needed to get big sponsorship monies to be facilitated. And we were highly surprised how much interest there was on also sponsoring that lounge, because you do have presidents and CEOs of companies that are fully practicing in all these modalities already, and do understand the need that it's being brought to the workplace, that it's not just being talked about, and that it's that it's really being integrated. And that's why I also say the formula is great too. Like we did it with the big conference, and what I do a lot of times, I really integrate into a company or into a conference. So there's a go-to person, that there's somebody who really also maybe comes out of that same field. I would not do it for a conference that is a pharmaceutical conference. I do say then you might find somebody in the pharmaceutical field who can facilitate that as well. I'm really good in the business world, in the sales and marketing world, in the business world, in the international Congress world, and business. That's where I come from. And when you have somebody who can talk both sides and who can really also be a face that accompanies through the process. And like we did the guided meditation, and you can find the same meditation on healthtunes.org, which is a free platform for all that binaural healing sound. There is that meditation in a much better quality. I think we with Wi-Fi and whatever, it gets broken down a little bit, and the music was a bit loud. You can of course pull any meditation from somewhere, but I think what sometimes is great too is if there is somebody implemented in the company who is that voice, and who is also a go-to person, and who might also facilitate a few other mindfulness things, then it is not, like I mentioned, thrown in. Oh, today we do this, and today then it has a thread that is, or it's a fabric that is woven together from both sides, the well-being side, as well as the understanding of what the corporate needs are and who what they stand for. Sorry for a long answer.
No, that's super helpful, and I totally agree. There has to be a champion within the corporate environment already. If there's not a champion to lead from the top down, then it won't stick. It won't happen. If the leadership isn't participating, then it's just checking a box.
Well, you know,
yeah.
I was going to say, for whether there is or there isn't the corporate championship, it's up to you to make the decision for yourself. Because we have bad leadership, and we have that everywhere today, doesn't mean that you can't take a step to help yourself, whether the corporation does or not. Yeah, and it's, you know, it's our personal responsibility to make that decision for ourselves.
Yeah, I totally agree, David. And I was thinking about corporate culture in general in big companies and Fortune 500 companies. You know, culture, you know, like in Japan, that corporate culture there is very integrated with this type of mindfulness. And in the US, I don't see it happening unless there's leadership to help make it happen.
Well, I mean, the Japanese culture was very, you know, I'm not up on it, but when it was a long time ago, it was also very punishing to the workers. It didn't serve them well. And so to be peaceful in today's world is a personal choice, despite whatever, all the anxiety that's around us constantly and how we deal with it. And that's the challenge. And then by one person showing, by leading through their example, bringing in others to help spread it out. Unfortunately, I agree with you, Kevin. Corporate America is still a top-down, male-dominated, ego-driven, and it really doesn't care about people in general.
Well, I just want to say, David, Kevin, thank you for your questions. I actually have questions for Anna Marie as well, but we are out of time. So I'm just going to put her email address in the comments, if that's okay, because I will email you my question, Anna Marie. And I encourage anybody else to do that as well. I also invite you to join us for our networking component, which is right now, because we do all have careers to get to. We have to end on time. And so I'll give it over to Rochelle and invite us all into the networking component.
Perfect. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Thank you so much. I have so many notes written down here, plus the downloads that came, plus through the meditation and being the mountain. And wow, you were one of the most powerful speakers we've had. And the visualizations were absolutely wonderful. And I'd love to take some of that into our networking today. So we do something different for networking every week. Or every time that we get together. And today we're going to pop into, Kevin's going to pop us into one-on-one breakout rooms. And I believe, so 9:13, we're just going to go into one. So we'll just talk one-on-one with just one person in about 7 minutes. How
Great.
does that sound, Kevin?
Sounds good.
Okay. And so if you'd like to do a topic, if you need something to start off with talking about, let's just go into something that Anne-Marie said at the very beginning. Would you be willing to jump out of a plane? Or have you before?
Cool.